TV. Let's take a moment to remember the people who've committed suicide during this COVID-19 period or before. My name is Brenda. I'm a psychologist by profession, and today we are going to talk about mental health. I think it comes at a good time during this COVID-19 period, but this is a timeless topic that it should always be addressed, because were it not COVID-19, other things would have made mental health a topic to be discussed as well. So what is mental health, you would ask? There's the general knowledge of what mental health is, and there's the actual definition of what mental health is. So I'm going to read to you what the World Health Organization defines mental health. So mental health is the state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So basically it's how we think and feel and how we act. So what is good mental health? Good mental health is what I've just read about you being able to deal with this daily stresses of life, because it happens. Every day we encounter a new stress. So if you're able to handle that and move on to something else, that means you have good mental health. What are the misconceptions of mental health? First, that you're crazy. Most of the time that we think that someone who is undergoing a mental disorder is a crazy person. In the normal understanding, maybe they are, but they're not, because there's so much that goes into someone having mental health illness. Let's talk about someone with depression. There's so many risk factors that have gone into this person getting into the way they are at this moment. So they are not really crazy. They're just going through something that needs to be assisted, or they need help. Once they get medication, they'll actually start acting normal. The other one is, us Africans think that someone who is maybe having a mental disorder is bewitched. We usually say that we are alirogwa na mtu mwenye alimroga alikufa, but it's not really true, because back then they didn't really understand what made someone maybe remove their clothes and go to and start walking naked. But whatever happens, because mental health is all associated with the brain, so there are things that have affected this person's brain to make them the way they are, and these things have not really been assisted, or he's not gotten the right medication. The other one is that this person was dropped when they were a child. Well, maybe they were, but how many times have you dropped a child and the child is actually quite okay? Because it happens that you're a mother, the baby just falls from the chair and hits his or her head, but then after that they're okay. So it's not really that's a misconception, that one of the things that is making someone act the way they are is that they were dropped as a child. The other misconception is it's a sign of weakness, because it isn't. Anyone can actually get mental health disorders. Everyone is at risk, actually. We are all at risk of getting mental health based on the risk factors that we get exposed to. The other one is that they can't act or function normally. They can. Once this person has received treatment, they are able to work just as you and I can work. So that is not really something that we can say is one of the things that you can't employ someone because they are having a mental health problem, unless it is something that you can clearly see that they will not be able to function normally if you employ them. Another misconception is that mental health medication alters your personality. It doesn't, because your personality is engraved in you. It is who you are. It cannot change. If you're a bubbly person, that is who you'll remain to be. If you're an introvert, that is who you'll remain to be. So there are times when you'll take the medication and it's supposed to calm you down, because based on the mental disorder that you have, maybe you are violent, you are getting hallucinations. So the medication that you receive is supposed to assist you be calm and function better. Another misconception is that you can't prevent mental health, because you can. We usually say that there are things that you can do to help you deal with stresses better, because all these are triggers to mental health. So if you identify something it's a trigger for you, you can avoid it. So that's why we're saying it is a misconception. You can actually avoid mental health, but not all. I need to clarify that, not all. Some are genetic, some you cannot really run away from, but it's preventable. Another misconception is that you're violent. A mentally ill person is violent. We have encountered people who are actually mentally ill and they're violent. That is a fact. But that is because they haven't received medication. Once they've received medication, you will see a very calm person. Another misconception is that mental health problems are forever. There are some that are, because from the onset, they are mostly genetically triggered. But there are those that aren't. There are mental health disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar. Those ones, people will take medication forever. But there are those that once you manage it and go seek help early, you can manage it early and you can live normally. So when it comes to mental health, there are things that trigger mental health, and we call this risk factors. So some of the risk factors that can trigger mental health, one of them is social and financial factors. Social factors is when you're in a social setting and you feel that your heart is beating fast, you're trembling, and it's not trembling in a normal way, you're trembling in a very intense kind of way. So that could be so we call that a risk factor, because that was something that was there before, but then this social setting has triggered that. Maybe you are going for a public speaking event and you are the public speaker. So during that, when you're going to the stage, you are shivering, your heart is really beating fast. Those are signs of a panic attack. So you can feel like you're not even breathing. So we'll call that a trigger. So that is a risk factor. Financial factor is whereby you don't have money, to say it simply. So when you don't have money, that means you're stressed. So how you deal with that stress could either determine whether you go into a mental health problem or you can call that a normal stress, because different people deal with financial problems differently. There are those who will take it very seriously and go into depression because they're not finding a way out of it, but there are those who will find that as a challenge and deal with it. Another one is biological factors. These are medical problems that one has that are triggering this. So let's say you have a long-term kind of illness. Let's say cancer. Cancer, you've had it for, let's say, a year, and after a year, you've gone through the chemotherapy, you've gone through all the medication, and you've been told that you're okay now. But then you'll find that every time you have a small symptom or something that you feel that will take you back to the cancer, you get anxious. So every time something small happens, it could be just a headache, but you're fearful that you will go back to what happened when you got the cancer. Another risk factor for mental health illness is the lifestyle choices that you make. One of the lifestyle choices that one makes is the kind of company they keep. It could be the person you're dating, the friends that you have. It could also be where you're working, because these are, you can either choose to work somewhere or not. In as much as there are bills, you have your loans to pay, but if you're working in a place that is not really good for you mentally, you can choose to leave. There are also the relationships that we have. There are times where we date someone who, for both male and female, where this person is actually not good for us. They either beat us, they are verbally abusive, but we still stay. We stay because we feel that this is the best person that we can have. Yet in the actual sense that there's always someone better that we can take. And also the friends that we keep. Remember in high school where you would be in a particular clique just because you feel that being with them, it makes you feel important, it validates you in a way. Next time, we'll talk about some of the mental health specialists that you can go to and when to go to them. So do not miss. Thank you for watching. I have been your host, Brenda. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section. And if you'd like to speak to a mental health practitioner, call the numbers below. See you next time. This is Clean Money TV.